In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up basically an account using WHM, which is a hosting management front-end platform. So it's like a CMS, but it basically gives commands at the back end, Linux commands to a Linux server. So, and it's just a visual interface, which makes it really simple, easy for non-developers to manage a server, or set up accounts, set up websites, manage mail and things like that. So you can get a hosting. This comes with a lot of hosting accounts. You get the WHM comes free, and then of course there's cPanel, which is the other interface for managing just the websites that you create within WHM. So I'm going to just go ahead and set up a demo site. So let's type in create. So we go to create new account, and I already have the domain. I've purchased the domain, so I go in here. It's namuna.in. It's just a dummy thing. And then I just set up my emails, and I choose the default package, and then we yeah, over here we just use your email address that you want to use associated with that account for any alert messages and things like that. You don't want this account to be a reseller, and you want to use domain name server specified at the domains registrar. This is important because then you go in, and it automatically detects the name servers that are there. And I use Cloudflare, so then that's taking the information from the registrar, and the registrar is telling it that the DNS is configured by Cloudflare. And then I just go ahead and click create, and it creates my account, and we're done. Yeah, it's that simple. Now what I need to do is I need to get the IP address that this account has been created on, and I then fill in that IP address in my Cloudflare account. So this is my Cloudflare account. I access the website that has been configured on Cloudflare, and that's pretty simple. Basically, you point your you just sign up for a new Cloudflare account, and you just create a new domain name entry, and then it'll give you two every account that you have on Cloudflare gets its a pair of DNS servers, and you need to enter those two DNS servers in your registrar, right? So in GoDaddy or Namecheap, you need to enter those as your domain name servers. So that's basically pointing GoDaddy or the registrar where you register your domain, that your DNS is managed by Cloudflare, right? And then it basically Cloudflare also helps you speed up your site, and it avoids a lot of things like DDoS attacks and things like that. So I generally do this for all my accounts. I use Cloudflare for all the real websites that I set up, because it's super super cool, and it's free. It's absolutely free. So then you put in your website here, the same website that you created here, right? And that you pointed to Cloudflare from your registrar, the one that you registered. That's the website we're setting up, and then the IP address, which I'm gonna take from here, and you can also get it from any other place in WHM, but I don't want to expose that page right now. So, and then I do click add record, and that's it, and it's pointing. So now my website. So basically, the registrar is uh, telling all the internet traffic that your website is hosted at Cloudflare. Like Cloudflare knows where it is. Sorry, it's not hosted there, but Cloudflare has the DNS, is managing all the DNS information, and this is Cloudflare's DNS. So it forwards any traffic there, and then Cloudflare um, has this IP address, right, which I've put in here. So Cloudflare is telling everyone that, hey, namuna.in is hosted on this IP address. And then it points it to this IP address. And then this IP address is attached to this server. And so when the traffic comes to this IP address, uh, basically the server checks its zone entries and checks to see, is there a domain called Namuna configured on my server? I mean, has someone officially created it? Otherwise, anyone can point any site anywhere, right? So you have to officially create that um, website, that domain on that particular server and on that IP address, and then it tells the traffic, okay, here goes. We are on this, and this is the website. So if I would access right now, namuna.in, so I'd get, yeah, so that means, see, so that's the account. This is what happens by default when you create a new account on a WHM using WHM. So it's just an empty site with there's no content in it. And now I'm going to install WordPress um, on this site. So I click that. I'm going to get the latest version of WordPress, and then I'm going to upload it over here, right? So to do that, I have to get into cPanel of this account. So I click on this button right here. I can go back to the main entry, and then I can see all the sites I've created in my WHM account, and then I can access cPanel from there as well. But I don't want to sort of show all my websites, so I'm just going to click here, and it jumps straight to the cPanel the cPanel account, which is to manage that website. Now all the things. So cPanel is nothing but a front end to manage the domain, the single domain that's been created. This one right here on that I just created, right? So I can. So a lot of cPanels have WordPress one-click install also. Called something wizard. Anyway, so but I'm going to install WordPress manually. So I've downloaded my WordPress file, and from WordPress.org, the latest WordPress file. And what I need to do now is I'm going to go ahead and create a database wizard here. I'm going to create a database and a username. Um, so let's just call it MyDB. You can call it anything, of course. And I need to save that somewhere. So I cut paste it, and for now I put it into Notepad, but I use Evernote a lot, so I generally save that in there. And then I have to create a username that I need to associate with this database. So I can just say guy, username guy, and then I put a password, and I'm just gonna put hello uh, 777 for now. Hello 777, right? Okay, but just make sure it's complex. And then you create the user, and then so it creates this user. So then you cut paste this user again, because you need these three entries to put into your WordPress configuration file, and uh, and then I and then the last entry you need is, of course, the password, which is hello 777 for that username, right? That's the database, and that's the user. Okay, so now I will assign all privileges so that user can access all the different functions of the database, basically, right? And then I'm done. That's good. So then I click this and I go back home. Now I need to go to the file manager because I need to upload my WordPress, the latest WordPress that I downloaded right here. So go to public folder, and then I'm just going to basically drag, oh, oops, wait, and I click upload right here. So I come to the root, right? The public is where the home pages, and then this CGI bin which we saw. Remember this right here? That's that's the index. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to upload using File Manager, which is which was the function here inside cPanel, right? I hope I didn't go too fast on that, but so after I created the database through the MySQL database wizard, I've come back to this page and I've clicked on File Manager, which allows me to basically manage my files on my server, and I need to upload the zip files. So then I clicked the upload button right here, and then it opened up the upload interface on a new window, and then it said you can either select the file by clicking this, or you can start uploading, just drag and drop. So just going to drag this here, and I've uploaded my WordPress file in compressed format, and once it does that I get a green bar and I go back to public, and here's my WordPress file, and all I do is right click and I extract it, right? Because I need to extract that file. Then it extracts, and you'll notice that it goes into a WordPress folder. So once I've extracted it, I don't need this anymore, so I delete that. I can delete it permanently. Why is Chris sending me so many messages? Okay, and then I go into WordPress, the WordPress folder. I click the top. I keep my Shift key pressed, and I click again. I left click again. So it selects all this, and I basically say move, like move these files, right? So I can right click to get to it, or I can click on that right here, and it'll ask me where do you want to move it to, and then I want to move it to root, so I want to move it out of WordPress. So I delete that and I go right there and I click move files. Okay, so it empties out everything and it moves it there, and then I go up one level and I'm back here, and you can see all my WordPress stuff is moved here, and my WordPress folder is empty, so I can actually delete that now. Don't need that anymore. And then we go to the word WP config sample, right? That's the file, that's the configuration file of WordPress. That's where the database entries go. So I go to right click that, I click edit, and notice I'm editing everything on the server. I've not done anything locally at all. So I'm just making things really simple and quick and fast for you. And if you follow this process, I mean, this is something I've been doing for I don't know how many years, but it just makes things easy and fast. This is the shortcut method, right? Right? If you were to install it using the actual WordPress files, and not Fantastico. Yeah, that's what it was called, Fantastico. The cPanel modules where you could install WordPress with one click or just a simple interface. So I mean, you can do that once you get advanced. I always like doing this because you get to know what's happening, like what's actually happening also. I mean, it's more interesting. So anyway, so I need the database name here. So I cut pasted that, and I got my database name. I'm pasting it right there. Get the username. I'm putting the username there. Okay, and then the password. So take the password, simply cutting and pasting it. There we go. And yeah, and then if you want your salt keys, you can get that. It's a secret key. You can cut and paste this. That just encrypts your files a little bit more. It's some sort of a security mechanism. I think it gives you some private key. You can just get that so nobody can hack your site. And you just access the URL, and every time you access it, it generates a different sort of key, right? So there we go. I'm just going to cut paste that, and it says it's just an added sort of security layer if you want to do it. I would do it for my important sites. So, and then you replace it, right? You cut paste that and you replace that code with this, and we are done. And we save the changes, and that's it. And then we close this out. We come back to our WP config sample and we rename it. So we rename it, and you can do that by clicking on it, right clicking and saying rename, or just like single clicking it. So the file sort of lets you rename it, but I do the right click here, and then we remove sample, and that's the file. That's the WP config file. Now, if I come back to this page and I access this, lo and behold, you will see the WordPress drum roll. Why is my net connection so slow? The WordPress install, the welcome WordPress 5-minute, the famous 5-minute install, right? And it's asking you for your site title. So I say Namuna drones, right? This is a domain name I booked recently for some Indian site. I'm not going to reveal what I'm going to be building on this, but it's an e-commerce site, and maybe I will do a project. My e-commerce, when I build this site, maybe I do it live for anyone wanting to get into e-commerce, physical e-commerce goods. I may do that, in my next project. Anyway, so let's suppose I'm doing drones for now, and my username is Vish, and then it generates a password for it on its own. But for now, I'm just going to go with an easy one. You won't be able to get in with this password, so don't even try it, because I would, by the time you're watching this video, I would have like swapped things around and just changed everything, including the salt keys, and I would have destroyed the server and like torn it into shreds. And okay, no, I'm just kidding, not that. Okay, so Vish is a username, so I store that also. Vish is and that's my WordPress. Then my WordPress admin will be that always, right? So I could just use it as, anything you wanted. And I'll put Vishal for now. And that's your confirmed use of weak password in this instance. And my email address, I'm going to use that. That's your admin email address. I shouldn't be actually exposing that, so you probably see a blur. Geez, okay. So I'm going to put my email address, and I'm going to discourage search engines from. Will you discourage search engines from indexing this site? Um, when I set this up initially, I always do that, but you got to make sure to turn this back on inside WordPress, because once your site is ready, or once you have content on it and you're ready for the engines to come and start crawling it. You have some content and you're okay with it, and you want it to start getting indexed in Google, because if you don't check mark this, then you may get some empty content, and some people might start coming to your site, and you don't want people to know about it. um, you don't want Google to index it for sure, especially when you're not set up your SEO structure and things like that, and the pages, and because then Google will look at it as a blank site with thin content and lose some trust in it. I'm not saying you can't build up that trust over time. I mean, it'll sort of detect that it's a new site, but don't play with fire over here. Just click that, and remember, make it a habit to uncheck it inside WordPress. And then I click the install, and WordPress will do its magic, and it's going to click the server, and there we go, we're ready. And then we're ready to log in. And remember, this is your login URL, either this one or wp-admin. Both will do the same thing. So what you can do is, if you're a beginner and you want to just save it, so there we go. So I've got my database information there, and I've got this information here. And of course, right on top, I had my WHM information, which was what I used here to set up the site. I kind of forgot what I used, but you would store that as well, which is basically your file transfer protocol, your FTP info. So you use that to access any files within WordPress at a file level. Of course, you can always come over here from the file manager here, but if you're using something like WSFTP or FileZilla, and you want to upload a file which is outside WordPress, is not a WordPress file, it's just a general file, or you want to manipulate some files, or you want to upload something really fast, then you can use an FTP software. They're free softwares. There's FileZilla, and there's WSFTP or QtFTP. These are three different popular softwares. So you can use those and just drag and use those to uh, basically you enter namuna.in as your FTP info, and then your username that you used over here to set up, and the password that you use there, and then you can get access to, using that software, you get access to this sort of this directory right here, the public folder, and then you can upload files and what have you, different scripts and anything you want to do, like images and things. If you're working on something outside the WordPress CMS platform, then it's in handy. Like, for example, if Google Analytics tells you to upload a file to verify that you own the site and things like that, you can come here and do that. And if you want to change the htaccess file, make some special sort of entries in it, you can come here and do that. I'm just showing you another setting. You can do show hidden files, and then it'll show you any files that are hidden, which includes the htaccess file, which is important if you're doing some custom htaccess work outside of WordPress, because WordPress itself can manipulate this file. Okay, so we're going to close this in, and then we're going to log in. Okay, and here we go. I put in Vishal, and then paste that, because there we go. I'm gonna just say remember me, and I'm gonna log in. And lo and behold, we will be logged into WordPress, the admin dashboard of WordPress. And I'm gonna close off these windows. Sorry, my net connection is slow because I've kept the door closed here, and the connection just weakens a little bit when I do that. Okay, so we've come into your dashboard. I also want you to know that, I mean, you don't have to be in the dashboard, but the site has already been, since WordPress has been set up, it puts a default theme with the default plugin. So this is the default theme with the, the Hello World post, the very first post of WordPress, and we're all set. So you can see it's a blank site. We're in the dashboard, and it's got the default theme all set up for you with the single plugin, the Hello Dolly plugin. So we have the 2017 default theme set up, and the Hello Dolly and the oh, okay, these are not activated by default. You can activate them, and they're installed, but they're not activated. These are the two plugins that WordPress is currently pushes into every install. One is just to catch the people who leave spam and things like that, and the other one is just a plugin that doesn't do anything really. And I right-clicked and activated that as well, so it's actually activated. But you get to see it here. I'm going to hit reload. And so that's the site, and okay, this one didn't get activated, so I'm going to activate that as well. And we now have an empty WordPress site, and we can start doing our in the next video I will show you how to go about setting up the pages and the permalink structures and the important things that we do when setting up a new WordPress site, and of course from the perspective of SEO as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It was for beginners. I mean, if you've never set up a site before, I'm sure this video was of high value, but if you've done this before, it was probably really boring. So sorry about that, and I will see you in the next video, where we'll start working inside the WordPress dashboard and start filling this up with a lot more elements, plugins, and themes, and start structuring things. So I will see you in the next video. Bye now.